فخليك حد اصحاب والله حد شو رايك؟
You like to go to see the new guys, the other goals for
the seventh one, by the seventh one you start.
Quedan piola porque van bajo.
Ah, claro.
In 6 months. So that would be.
كم حبة يا محمد؟ كم حبة؟
Yeah, so we took over the place, and then this came as a part of the Roman Empire. Yeah, they continued to live in the place here together with the Nabatean. At later stage, around the 3rd century AD, they switched the road. Yeah, the caravan route, instead of coming to Petra here, they took the road up to Palmyra, and then to the Phoenician coast, and then the place was abandoned. Most people moved from this part here, they moved to around the region here, and they are not getting up there, they just live in agriculture. Yeah, here what we see
Ya uno se cae en la cocina.
والله كلهم والله غير دور وخالف بقول من هناك.
لا والله دور.
What do you like, Kava horse? Called Charlie, guys? What do you like, Kava horse?
David Roberts. Yeah. The beginning of fall.
Photograph.
Take the left side here. يفرق الخبر أكثر عشان
Ela tem máquina de pimentas boas.
شويه فوق قدنا نزل لا فوق شويه فوق نزل
I think it might be that much, but like I would never pay it in the US either, because it's not still not a reasonable price. Yeah. Well, I hear the horses are supposed to be for charity. Exactly. I'll already know half of it. So
Como le llamamos, se mandó a que مدرسة الفروسية والتنفيذ.
Then move toward the Arab station. Then
Ja mam tam skitraną całą butelkę. Same, so it was... Yeah.
I see her. No, I can't see her. But she is here. Yeah, I was.
Is that where we can walk like 20 kilometers, right? No, that's what we're gonna do, no? Honestly, if we didn't have time to get to Roma, I would have done it.
I'm really excited about the sunset drive.
Me too. If we make it. You want to? You want to?
Sempre hai. Per 20 anni.
That's all he is. He thought I think it's there.
Mirad para acá. Mirad para acá todo.
You want to go to the view for the picture? Have a good day. You too. Quiero hacer una cosa.
Excuse me, you want to go up?
No, I would.
$1 لا ما بضع بسكر عليها صوت بقول اشوفهم ما حد حلها ما شافهم بعدين بطلع ما قدام الصباح فيس تو فيس.
Everybody remember me coming from Houston, you know I think. I've got like 6 in mind.
I was like through all the cars that I've been in and out of and
Yeah.
collecting everything.
No, I feel it.
I was like, it should be something cool, though. I should like.
Yeah, whenever I turned in my car from Virginia, they sent me a letter saying you need to destroy these.
What was so this just this is just
These
cut
have been
away
in my life for like 7
used to
years.
be on Drake. Sorry? Used to be up there. Is that the one time you get up? Yeah, no. You're welcome. My wife said that. Could you get me a magic trace? And then this just opened. Is there a person up there? Oh.
Taxi guys.
हो गया
What's up? Yo tampoco.
There's also more just design inside.
the only thing that
Watch out! Taxi! Karate, you wanna right? Taxi, guys.
I can't start it.
سهلا قدم لها.
Yeah, I think so.
Thank you.
Is that, how are you wearing that right now? It's not heavy.
Esse chega ali, nesse eu vou botar esse jogo.
Oh, alright.
Sì.
حراري؟ ما في كده منطقي. لا ما في. إذا بدك على الحراري. لا ضعيف. سفر تقول.
Tak to ci będzie, bo mamy asi dostanie.
Okay, my friend, you want to ride Ferrari? Italian? French? Spanish?
Make sure you step it. Down. Vertical. Down. Run it this way. Thank you.
this way.
He said it was this way. He didn't say go right.
I saw him go all this. Yeah, he went on that. That's up there on that road. Bro, I jumped the rock.
That's not. No, that's.
Oh, come on. Don't give me that. That might be the restaurant. There's no way. There's no way you're going over there. I think that shit is. Ah, no. You gotta be in it.
If you look in the map, it goes real wrong. So like, keep brake, get to the arrow. At least fucking attach this point.
He said this way. This way. Yeah, right. Give me my accent.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
Ah, con sesión de fotos hubo 20 videos. Sí. Nos van a recibir los generales.
Ah si, non, j'ai pas pris de photo, j'ai pris avec lui, vas-y.
You want to do the camel, guys, for all the way back? Camel, donkey, they'll be upstairs coming up, please.